What's good, everybody? It's Batman, and we are doing the next reaction video for your boy Six. He's good at Naruto content YouTuber. As always, I normally always do this, but his YouTube will be in the description down below if you guys want to check him out. He has tons of Naruto videos, tons of content. He doesn't do just Naruto either. Excuse me. He does do other things as well. So, like I said, guys, if you really enjoy it, make sure to help a brother out, give him all the support he needs, and you won't be disappointed. There could be some videos you may have disagreements, whatever. As always, that's for anybody. But for the most part, he has pretty good stuff, at least in my opinion. So, but we're gonna check him out. Sage KABUTO versus every AKATSUKI duo. I'm gonna be real with you. If I was having to do this fucking video, like shit, this would probably be way longer than 18 fucking minutes. If my but if I was doing it. But the fact that he's able to get it to 18 minutes long is impressive for every AKATSUKI duo. But we're gonna check it out and let's see what happens.
Enough opportunity to talk about KABUTO on this channel, mainly because KABUTO versus battle topics are extremely hard to come by.
Yeah.
But he's a pretty powerful character that, aside from today, I've only talked about one other time when I put him up against Obito. Today we'll be putting him up against all the different AKATSUKI duos, and we're doing this gauntlet style. So let's lay out the rules before getting into the fight.
Okay.
These fights will happen one at a time, and the AKATSUKI duos will come in one after another. KABUTO will receive no break time between any of them, so if he does manage to get past the first few, he might start feeling the effects of fatigue set in and make later battles, harder for him.
That's not true, actually. Which, I'm going to be honest. For one, he has infinite Sage Mode, by the way, so he can't get fatigued or any tired or anything like that. Sage Mode literally doesn't allow you to get fatigued or tired. So that won't ever happen, even if he was in this hypothetical gauntlet scenario. And two, I don't know why he's doing a gauntlet scenario. He should just do each one, whatever, accordingly. But that's fine. But yeah, I'm just putting that out there. That's blatantly not true. So I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but I'm just debunking that right off the whip. It's literally stated verbatim that Sage Mode does not allow you to get fatigued and tired. It reboosts all your stats, blah, blah, etc. And then it was stated verbatim with KABUTO that he cannot lose Sage Mode. He basically has infinite. I can't remember the reason, but it's stated in the fight of him against Itachi and Sasuke. So I don't know where you got that from, but just putting that out there. He literally has infinite fucking Sage Mode.
In order to balance this for KABUTO, I'm giving him the terrain advantage, and he can fight in the cave that he fought Sasuke and Edo Itachi in. So he'll be able to alter the terrain, at least to the extent we saw him do in that battle. I'll have chapters below for each AKATSUKI duo section, so you can skip around if you want to listen to see how I think he fares against a certain duo. But if you're going to listen to the whole video, this will be...
Damn, he's giving him terrain advantage and fucking... It's interesting. It's an interesting video. It makes it like, if anything, if it was me, but then again, this is just me, I would do with terrain and without then. You know what I mean? If that's going to be the case, but...
Then Deidara and Sasori, then Deidara and Tobi, Kisame and Itachi, and then finally Konan and the Six Paths of Pain. To be extremely clear, Tobi isn't Obito in his team with Deidara. He will be in character as Goofball Tobi. As far as intel goes, any information KABUTO currently has on the AKATSUKI, he will also have going into this battle, and the same goes for any AKATSUKI members that know KABUTO. Given obvious questions people would have about this, what this means for Itachi, we'll be limiting his knowledge to his AKATSUKI days, since most of the intel he gained on KABUTO he did while he was no longer a member of the AKATSUKI. And if I wanted to give him that info in order to make the fight fair, I'd also have to take his left Sharingan, since that was also lost in that fight. Everyone will be appearing in their strongest forms, and what that means is Itachi will have taken his medicine that day, Deidara will have both of his arms, Sasori will have access to his puppets, Kakuzu will have all 5 of his hearts, Pain will be as close to Nagato as he needs to be, and Kisame will possess Samehada. Now, I'm pretty sure that's as far as I need to go as far as ground rules. Obviously, each fight will be to the death, and all characters out for the kill. But that's not saying I'm going to plug a controller into all of them and have them do things they would normally do. Everyone will be acting in character, using tactics they would normally have used in the manga, or a plan you could say that they might have made based on that information. We're going to start with a short KABUTO overview just to get a gauge of his power, and then after that get into the fighting. Before we begin with that though, I'd like to ask you to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, as I'd really appreciate it and it helps the channel out greatly. This isn't the first time we've seen KABUTO get jumped in this fashion. Obviously we saw him take on 2 former AKATSUKI members, that being Sasuke and Itachi, in a similar setting to what we've laid out here today. This fight is extremely important to Kabuto's scaling since it's quite literally the only one he
Yeah.
owned. There is something I didn't mention in the intro that I'm giving Kabuto since he had it in the main series, and that's Anko's curse mark, which provides him with an amp. I like to point out something interesting about Kabuto, and that's the idea of a quote-unquote perfect sage. Kabuto is the only one to ever use this term in canon, and I think that's important. The way Kabuto obtained sage mode is far different from the training process Naruto went through. Naruto sat and meditated, and even when mastering the form, couldn't maintain it for very long. Now, Naruto, without a doubt, entered full sage mode, but I think that there's a line to draw in the sand here between a full sage like Naruto and a perfect sage like Kabuto. The weakness Naruto has of exiting the form after a lot of his sage chakra is expended is one Kabuto does not have, as he can keep taking in nature energy due to possessing Jugo's Kekkei Genkai. This puts his body in a perpetual state of sage mode basically. Kabuto can kind of just chill in sage mode, even when in Izanami after Itachi stacks another genjutsu on top of it, he stays in sage mode. This is important to Kabuto's fight overall because sage mode should keep you constantly replenished in terms of stamina.
Yeah.
Paul says something about this to Naruto.
Okay, so he does bring that up as well, at least. Okay, cool.
Training for sage mode. Unlike ninjutsu chakra where you progressively tired because you're just using up your internal energy, with sage jutsu,
So that's why Six was willing to do a gauntlet, because he knew he can't get tired or fatigued either way. Okay. That makes sense now.
In nature energy from the outside, and not only don't you get tired, you recover and heal quicker too.
Yep.
Other than that, Kabuto obviously has a pretty cracked out move kit, and
Yeah.
after covering his
He has
move,
so much hacks, so much.
it will just move right into the matchups. I need to cover this move first since it's integral to explaining another one of Kabuto's abilities, that being Sage Art White Extreme Attack. This attack is literally just insane. This is what Kabuto had to say about it. Light and sound knock out sight and hearing, a jutsu that causes the air to oscillate, to paralyze senses, freezing you in place.
Yep.
Sasuke even goes as far as saying the sound was rattling his bones. I want to go over what the data book says about this technique before going over how Kabuto's body reacts to it, but that part is insane too. Data book 4 says the atmosphere shakes like a dragon roar, the violent flash that snatches the senses away. It's a technique that only those who trained at Riichi Cave and mastered the Sage transformation can handle. It changes the natural energy gathered inside the body into a dragon of light and releases it from the mouth. It paralyzes the sight of sense and hearing with the light and sound that are generated immediately after, and the sense of feeling is paralyzed by means of the intense oscillation of the air, blocks the movements. With the corneas of a snake and internal liquefaction, only the jutsu user can elude its effects.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a pretty insane jutsu. Not only did it rattle Sasuke's bones for a short time, Sasuke was able to keep up his Susanoo while this jutsu was active until eventually he admitted he just couldn't hold it up any longer.
Yeah. He was fucked. He was fucked.
Keep in mind, this is EMS Sasuke, way stronger than the one who fought any of the 5 Kage,
Yep.
and way stronger than the one who grew stronger constantly as he was fighting Danzo. Of course, this jutsu didn't end up...
Now, the problem is, like, we know he gets stronger throughout, but we don't know any of the quantification levels at all. So it's really weird of how much stronger he gets throughout, and you name it. Like, and then not only that, of him just getting stronger, that could just be basically due to, like, his Susanoo progressing, blah, blah, et cetera, you name it. But all that's a whole other contentious and a whole other can of worms. I'm not going to get into it, but just putting that out there. But as for, in comparison with him having an MS to EMS, yeah, it's a big fucking difference. It's infinite light. He can spam his abilities. He can use Susanoo all fucking day, every day now. You name it. Like, it's a whole other fucking territory, which, in theory, why he would be considered stronger, etc. For it to be, like, where his stats, like, drastically, or exponentially go way higher, blah, blah. I don't know about all that one, but he does get stronger in a sense.
Itachi Susanoo's down, but that's Edo Itachi. I kind of already spoiled it in the data book reading it, but Kabuto avoids this jutsu by liquefying his insides and shutting off his sight. So sight-based genjutsu doesn't work on Kabuto, and it's important to note that the liquefaction of his body lets him avoid damage in a lot of scenarios, like when Sasuke pins him down here with Susanoo arrow, but he just avoids it and gets away by liquefying.
Yep.
Kabuto also has access to Teyuya's flute genjutsu, which when used by him needed 2 Mangekyo tier jutsu to break out of.
Yeah.
One which is stated to be the upper limit of the Sharingan's hypnosis ability. He also has access to Kidomaru's webs, which by his usage require 2 Amaterasu to stop, and even then they didn't burn the webs away, they just stopped it from moving. He then has 3 different jutsu he can use to control the terrain to his advantage. He can use Kimimaru's Bracken Dance to control where enemies...
I forgot about, I totally forgot that like his fucking webs didn't even get burned. The only problem though is I don't think you can say that like that was because of him, you know what I mean, to be honest. That would more be the case of basically, you know what I mean, since Kabuto's in Sage and blah blah, that he's enhancing the web even further. I feel like that's the fair route to go. I don't think the Spider-Man dude would have webbing that's that fucking strong to withstand even a Mataratsu and shit. That's just crazy, you know?
Use Jirobo's jutsu to move around any defenses, and Sage Art inorganic reanimation.
Yeah, he can do all the sound 5. That's insane.
The cave around them and impale them with rocks. And probably Kabuto's 2 greatest assets he has: the danger sensing awareness granted by Sage Mode, which gives him a pretty high level of precognition and spatial awareness, on top of having Edo Tensei he can summon and control. Normally prep time would have to be required to implement Edo Tensei into a versus battle, but Kabuto at this point has done all the prep. He just has to summon the Edo Tensei ready to go.
He just has to summon
whenever he so chooses. That's all
it's
I'm
ready.
going to talk about for Kabuto though, so let's start.
But like, let's be real, with just Kabuto using his abilities alone, he's already a fucking monster. You know what I mean? Like, so if we give him even Edos, like... You know what I mean? But we can't do that because obviously he's doing the duo matchup. You know what I mean? So like that wouldn't really make sense, right? So you know, but he could use any of the other Edos, just not the Akatsuki. That would be dumb.
Starting off with Kakuzu and Hidan, of course I think Kabuto is faster than both of them due to scaling to EMS Sasuke and Edo Itachi and characters of those sorts. Kakuzu's most important asset here is probably his Diamond Morph armor. But considering Kabuto's usage of the White Extreme attack, it would force Kakuzu to likely just let down this armor. As we can see, Kakuzu can clearly see and hear while he still has this armor on, so it doesn't make him impervious to sound or light-based attacks, to which Kabuto could obviously just take advantage of and then eventually get him out of there.
And I'll be real with you, even without that, like, even though that would counter that completely, any attack he does, his chakra, Scarecrow, and Sage Mode, any of his jutsus would just fuck up Kakuzu. It would just body him. Like, he scales way over that Kakuzu.
Joshing Ritual is probably their best condition if they, would try to go for something like that. They would need to draw blood from Kabuto though to do it, which he can't do because Kabuto can liquefy himself and liquefy his insides. So
he has the body of Suigetsu and everything. He can turn into water. He can turn into that big ass water golem that fought the 8 Tails. You know what I mean? He has sensory abilities. He can't be touched or hit. Like, it's just not. Hit-on's irrelevant, bro. You know what I mean? And Kakuzu and Hit-on are technically stated to be the slowest Akatsuki members as well. At least base to base. And Hit-on says it verbatim. He's like, I'm the slowest at everybody, whatever, blah, blah. Obviously, when Kakuzu starts using his tentacles and shit, that's when he's, surpasses Hit-on. But even, like, Kakuzu, base to base and moving everything, like, they're on the same level. So, that's it.
Land a unique attack on him like that in order to actually draw the blood and begin the ritual. Neither of them have an answer for White Extreme attack like I mentioned earlier, so when Kabuto launches that, Kakuzu would obviously drop his armor, and then Kabuto could get through all of his hearts and cut off his head if he needs to. And Hidan's not that strong outside of his immortality, and Kabuto, if he's able to render him useless like that, can just cut his head off too.
Bro, Kabuto could even like mess with his body and use like his medical ninjutsu still and just, fuck him up and he can't move or whatever you name it. Like, there's so much he can do, dude.
In an extreme case, he can eat them, which he can unironically actually do. He can eat them.
Right, I forgot about that. And he can also summon 2.0 Manda, which is way more stronger than Orochimaru and Sasuke's version. And, like, that alone could just be able to fucking fold them,
Answer to you use Flute Genjutsu. So that's also going to, just tear them apart. If Kabuto lands it on them, they have no way to break out of it, and Kabuto would just beat them up. Then we move on to Data and Sasori. Now, it's questionable if Sasori's poison would even work on Kabuto, and I'll mention why. Don't agree with the reasoning, then we'll come up with something else. But what I think is Sasuke had resistance to poison due to Orochimaru, which it makes sense that Kabuto, who also has Orochimaru's DNA in training, would also have that same resistance to poison. Now, we do know Sasori has some pretty high tier poison,
Yeah.
but since they have poison resistance, do we really know if the poison would work?
We don't.
Now, I'm not saying
it can or wouldn't.
I'm not saying it would work, but do we know if it could work? We really have no idea. So I don't want to just say that Sasori's poison would be able to take them out. Datara's launch of C4 probably wouldn't happen due to the tight space of the cave, and even then it might not work on Kabuto anyway due to him being able to liquefy himself. If Datara does happen to use a C0 though, Kabuto could probably just get out by reverse summoning, sort of the same way Sasuke did. You get what I mean? So it's gonna be really hard for them to win, and Datara's like method of just flying away isn't gonna work here either, since they're, you know, in a cave, in an enclosed cave. So at any point in time, Kabuto should just be able to manipulate the cave, maybe get Sasori out of the Hiriko shell first, and then start beating up his chakra core, since he should have that knowledge on the Akatsuki, you know, after doing all the research into them and whatnot. And he should have pretty extensive knowledge on Datara as well, since both of them anyway, they were both reanimated by Kabuto in the fourth.
I'll be real. So he just speed blitzes. He just speed blitzes, beats them, you know, bodies them. Fucking, he can use his chakra and just block all their attacks, you name it, whatever. He can do all his hacks abilities to avoid damage or taking anything from their attacks, you name it. Like, there's just so much he can do, dude. Like, he can summon things. Like, it's just... They're redundant. They just get slammed.
What they can do.
Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, if I was making this video, it would deadass probably be maybe 20 minutes long or even less than that. Like, saving a Kabuto is no joke.
Let Datara out on like a test run against Inoki on Turtle Island, so he should know what Datara can do, and he should know what Sasori can do, what they're truly capable of.
Yeah.
So he would probably just use like.
And even without intel though, he would still be able to beat him up.
Use flute genjutsu. Just something to incapacitate them and eventually beat them, since he should be much faster than them, like I mentioned earlier, because he scales to EMS Sasuke.
Well, I'm going to put this out there. I don't know if Genjutsu would actually work on Sasori, though. That's a little weird, because he's a puppet. You know what I mean? The only component of his body is his heart. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know about that one. What am I meant to? One thing I do like that is unique about Six, though, that I'll really give him some credit on too, is a little bit separate, is like his thumbnails. Very, very unique and good art. Very, very unique. You know what I mean? Compared to the stereotypical like colored art or, you know, particular thumbnails that you normally see nowadays for an art content on YouTube and whatnot. Like I do, like Six is really unique. You know what I mean? Like he deserves the credit that he, like everything he's done and whatnot, like he deserves the credit for. You know what I mean? Like he's a pretty incredible content creator. Just gonna put that out there too. So let's get back into the video.
You know, Datara shouldn't scale that high because he barely scales the heavy Sasuke. At least in speed.
No, not tonight, Ken. I thought we were doing that tomorrow. Well, technically today. What's it called? Unless I heard you wrong or we miscommunicated wrong, but I won't be able to do it tonight though. It's already late for me. It's like 1 in the morning, so I'm gonna relax and whatnot, try to get some sleep, and then what's it called? And I got some stuff to do tomorrow, and then I will be free around 4 or 5 though. But just let me know what time you want to do Grounded Up. Particularly, I know you like to do it like around at night, so but just let me know.
Speed as combatant, they're pretty relative. If not, Datara is a little bit stronger, maybe. But yeah, Kabuto versus Datara and Toby is basically the same as the first round. The only real difference here is the fact that Toby can plant bombs for Datara, but these didn't even really work on Sasuke, who didn't have Sage Mode to sense where they were. So I don't really see the Datara Toby combo coming through and pulling out the W on Kabuto with Sage Mode here.
That's not doing shit.
Then we move on to Kisame and Itachi. This is where things sort of start to heat up. Itachi fought Kabuto before, although this time he'd have intent to kill rather than the intent to stop the Edo Tensei army. And I do want to note, we've never seen Itachi and Kisame fight as a team, which sort of gives me the impression that they both let each other handle their own fights. And there's examples of this, like Kisame handled the Four Tails whenever they were fighting the Konoha people. Itachi took some of them, Kisame took the other ones. Same thing when they were handling Team Guy and Team Kakashi, whenever they were sealing away Gaara and they used the Art of Impersonation Jutsu.
Yep.
It's really just, I don't think that they have crazy good teamwork. They might, I'm just saying it's never actually been like on display, if you get what I mean. It's pretty clear that bare minimum they're like pretty good friends, but we don't really know how well they would work together, how their movesets would complement each other. Itachi is not impervious to death this time, so White Extreme Attack might actually start doing some major damage to him here, as he won't have the Edo regeneration to help him recover quicker. Kisame's ability to absorb chakra, though, it would normally be great, right? Like, it would normally be like a fantastic ability to have against an opponent. Like Kisame says, like, you know, the stronger his opponent is, the stronger he becomes. But due to Kabuto having a particularly nasty chakra, since he's got, you know, Orochimaru's chakra as well, he has Sage Mode too, so Samehada might just refuse to even absorb Kabuto's chakra, because we've seen him do that before. Like, he doesn't like absorbing hot things, for example.
Yep.
So I don't really know if Kisame is going to be absorbing too much chakra here, and even then, would he just like turn into a snake or something like that, or would Samehada turn into a snake or something if he took too much chakra?
Like, we just don't know. It might be bad at backfire. Yeah.
Kisame fuses it won't help much, since he got much stronger through chakra absorption from B at that point when he, you know, initially fused with Samehada and Samehada was transforming or whatever. Genjutsu won't work on Kabuto. Like, just, it won't work.
Yeah.
None of Itachi's Genjutsu are going to work on Kabuto. They're all sight based, and he can just completely shut off his eyes. He even did this when he was fighting Itachi before, so he would know. This really comes down to like landing Amaterasu and if Itachi can or not, since it does seem to keep Kabuto at bay. Although Kabuto does say he can just like neg damage with his Orochimaru style substitution and whatnot, so it's possible landing Amaterasu won't even help in this fight. But it would definitely give them, like, I don't know, something. Like, you could at least use it as defense or something like that, because Sasuke used it as defense and it actually, like, you know, kept Kabuto away. But overall, I don't really see them taking Kabuto down this time, even if Itachi has the killer intent. He's weaker here, since, you know, even though he did take his medicine this day, he is sick. He's weaker here, and he's with someone we don't know if he can work as well as he did with Sasuke with, even though he mainly carried that fight. So yeah, I don't really think that, you know, Kisame and Itachi are going to be able to beat Kabuto. Then we move on to Konan and Pain, and Kabuto.
I'm surprised he didn't bring up. Like Itachi using like Susanoo, you know, with the Yatamir and everything, Totsuka Blade, or just really say anything at all on that, to be honest. But even like the problem, even if like Itachi uses like Susanoo and shit, like if he does like that one jutsu that he did before where they were using Susanoo, fuck me, what's it called? It would just do the same thing, like, you know what I mean? Like Itachi would be fucked. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I do think Itachi was still able to use his Susanoo to protect Sasuke or something. I would have to go back to the fight, but it's interesting, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like Itachi having Susanoo, that does help to a degree, but it's not like he could do it forever and ever and ever, and Kabuto has all fucking day, you know, so it's going to be really tough for him regardless, and I don't think he'd be able to land the Totsuka due to like the sensory abilities, you name it, blah, blah, you name it, and just all the hacks that he has. You know, and then, like, the only thing you can, like, kind of help for Itachi is, like, if Kabuto does, like, any of his jutsus and Itachi does, like, the Yatamir, that could probably be able to deal with it all. Even, like, that one other jutsu he does, like, you know, to kind of, like, paralyze you, name it, etc. But it's interesting. It's really, really interesting. What's it called? But, you know, I'm not too sure, so. But for the most part, you know, it's not the end of the world. I feel like it's fair to say that he slams Kasami and a live Itachi, you know.
Master Obito, at least, who like negged Konan. I don't think Konan's too relevant talking about here, considering, you know, she also lost to Jiraiya, right? So without prep time, she's really not going in there and, you know, about to do something big to Kabuto.
No, not
Pain's
at all.
really big jutsu won't work here either, like Chibaku Tensei, Chaotic Shinra Tensei, due to them, you know, being in the cave or whatnot. Even if he did like launch a Chibaku Tensei in the cave with the black core, Kabuto could just attack it with inorganic reanimation. So yeah, that, speaking of, is probably going to be the Six Paths' main downfall.
Wait.
Having to go up.
So he says he could attack it with the sage organic. Okay, that's okay. So it's weird. You know what I mean? Because like, if let's say he does a Chibaku Tensei, whether if it's outside or in the cave or whatever. But if it's in the cave and like he's using, you know, it's a gravity sphere basically. You know what I mean? So it's gonna pull everything in there, and then Kabuto's gonna get pulled or whatever. But like, I'm gonna be honest, like, you know, as crazy as it may sound, we don't really know, but Kabuto has ways to kind of deal with it. I mean, he could liquefy his body and turn to water. And like, even if he got put in there, he could probably like go and turn into water and get right through the cracks, you know, or maybe he can go into that big water golem thing and break out of it or something. Or like, you know what I mean? Like, he can use that technique where he can control, you know, everything and like all around him. And he could probably make it to where it's like irrelevant and like to be able to get out. It's really, really interesting and weird. Like, Chibaku Tensei is really weird, dude. Like, it can either work or it can't. You know, the one thing that we do get like extra detail with Chibaku Tensei, at least in anime, is like when everybody was put into Chibaku Tensei, including Minato, and this was like a filler thing or whatever. Like, you know, and so like it is like whatever you want to consider it into scaling or not, I don't care. But I'm just putting this out there. When they all got put into Chibaku Tensei, or when it was being used, like Minato wasn't able to find Raijin out of it for whatever weird reason. And when it was complete, Minato tried to use Flying Raijin while inside, and he couldn't use any techniques or jutsu. Like, he just says, oh wow, like all our jutsu or everything are just ineffective, like we're sealed, like we can't do anything, like it just doesn't work. So it's like, it comes into question, like, could Kabuto actually really use that technique if he's getting put in there, you name it? Like, it's really interesting. So, I'm gonna be honest, Chibaku Tensei could potentially be a W on Seijun Kabuto. As crazy as that sounds, it could. But we, you know, that's just, it's something really weird. Like, you know, I don't know. It could either it doesn't or it does. We don't really know. To sit here and say concretely that it just wouldn't be a factor or anything, I think that's a little crazy. It is a 6 pass level ceiling jutsu. You know, so just kind of putting that out there. And I'm gonna be real with you, Seijun Kabuto, he is strong, but he doesn't have 8 Tails Biju Bomb, KCM1 Rising Shuriken, and Yada Beads power levels of AP. You know, at least I'm pretty sure, I don't think he does, you know, so he's definitely not destroying it by brute force or anything like that. So the only way he can be able to counter is he like hacks with his water, you know, like his body turning into water. Maybe he can see through the cracks and get out or something. But then again, once again, if he does get put in there and it's to where you can't use anything, you know what I mean? Like, you're just sealed, and that's the whole point of sealing jutsu. If you get sealed, you can't use techniques of jutsu. So even though the whole other thing was filler that I was talking about, that would technically make sense in a way of why Flying Raijin couldn't even be used to teleport out of it or whatever. So either way, it's interesting. You know, I'm not going to say it can or it can't. I do feel like possibility-wise, since it is a sealing jutsu, that maybe it would be higher with that. So I would disagree with 6 there. But, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? We you know, it's whatever. Either way, if you don't accept it and it doesn't work, then obviously, I mean, that's going to be a fucking problem. Konan's completely irrelevant. Even if she's, like, flying or whatever, or you name it, like, she just can't do anything, you know? And she's just going to get bodied eventually. And then, like, past the pains, like, they all have link vision, so whether if you think they could be able to dodge his attacks, you know, whatever. But then again, it's Seijun Kabuto, and with all the hacks and jutsus he has, he probably can be able to create some opportunities. You know what I mean? If Jiraiya was able to do it, I don't see why Kabuto can't, you know? And then especially if he does, like, that one jutsu where he paralyzes your body. What the fuck do you do, bro? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, unless you think, like, Pain doing Shinra Tensei could just stop that technique, because it does say it can... In the data books, it does say it can deal with any fucking jutsu. It's basically utilizes all 5 chakra natures, and it's like a hacks ability to where it can just deal with anything. You know, it doesn't matter the size, if it's Saijutsu, Ninjutsu, whatever, it just deals with it. you know, which would also include Sageman attacks. It worked on Sageman Naruto's attacks as well. So, for all we know, which we know you can still use jutsu when you are affected by that, you know, Itachi does it, and Itachi even had this, and Sasuke had a Susanoo out for a little bit. So, for all we know, maybe Pain can even deal with that one. It's really, really interesting. In my opinion, I do think Pain versus Seijun Kabuto is a very, very contentious fight. It can go either way. But if I had to pick one, you know, like, it's so fucking hard. But like, maybe Pain, you know what I mean, possibility wise. And then like, but I'm gonna be real though. If Kabuto has Edos as well though, and he starts using that shit, Pain's fucked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what does he do, bro? You know what I mean? You know, or if he summons like all those fucking Edos that he's in the war. But like, let's say we just keep that away and aside, then you know that's what you have. But it's interesting. It's really, really interesting.
Against Kabuto's inorganic reanimation, which he can use to just sort of attack whenever he wants to. Like, he can
another thing, Tachi, he also would still have Izanami, even while being alive. So that could be a W for Itachi, though. Like, let's say you think the Susanoo's whatever, blah, blah, you name it, and whatnot, you know, or if he's able to, like, do the Izanami, you know what I mean, then that could be a W. But that's going to be extremely hard because, for one, he's alive and not an Edo, so if he gets hit or anything at all or caught slipping, he's fucked. Unless he's able to, like, use a Shadow Clone or whatever, something like that, you know, to try to maybe do it or something. I don't know, but if he can do the Izanami, then that is a W as well for the Itachi duo team, but that's going to be extremely fucking difficult. Kasame takes Itachi's eyes and souls, right? Itachi stops Kabuto from eating Sasuke, yeah. And then, sorry, Miss Banjo as well. We'll get open to the debate. No, you're fine, dude. It's not a problem. What's it called? This. I'll make sure to make this public for the stream, so if you want to watch it, you know, once the stream's over, you can. It's up to you, dude. Or you can just wait until it's released on YouTube. But yeah, so, you know, overall, like, it's really interesting. But like I said, if Kabuto uses that one technique where he paralyzes you, like, once again, Itachi was only able to get out of it, okay, with using Genjutsu. You know what I mean? Well, actually, no. That I'm tripping. That was with the flute Genjutsu. My bad. So if he's getting affected by that paralyzing jutsu, whatever, like, it's gonna be really difficult. You know what I mean? Like, because he was still able to use Susanoo to protect Sasuke while that was happening. But it's really interesting, like, you know, and then it just comes into the factor with if you think the Yada mirror could be able to completely negate it because it is stated to just deal with anything, you know? So, like, Itachi could probably be able to do pretty well. Pain could be able to do probably pretty well. As for them winning, though, that's, you know, that's hard. Like, I don't know. But it's interesting. I do think it's contentious. I don't think it's extremely one-sided or simple to where, like, Kabuto just no matter what fucking wins. I don't know about that one. You know what I mean? So, and if that's the route 6 is going so far, to where he's not even saying that at least maybe Itachi would pull it off or even Pain, then that's a little crazy. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. It's completely understandable. Sagemon Kabuto is no fucking joke. So.
In spots, and you know, even if the Pains are all like looking at each other, it's gonna be pretty hard for them to react to. This attack was like about to blitz EMS Sasuke, right? Like, it was a little bit faster than how Edo Itachi could move with the Susanoo on. So I don't really see the Pains being able to get around, you know, the White Extreme Attack or inorganic reanimation. And with White Extreme Attack, they all get
they do have link vision though, you know what I mean? So it's, you know, but I get what he's saying. It's fine. But you know, if that happens, like, yeah, they're kind of fucked in a way that where they're gonna have to. The only way I can see that being countered is either being absorbed or if Shinra Tensei. That's the only argument. But if that doesn't work, or you don't even think that wouldn't work at all, or argue against it, to, you know, then they're just fucked. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, well, what do they do? You know.
You can maybe make an argument that it would even affect Nagato as well in his ability to use the Pains. So the Pains might like collapse after they're hit with that jutsu.
He's kind of spitting there, though. That is a good possibility, because since it's, like, you know, vibrating and it's so strong to where it was rattling Sasuke's bones, if it can do that and everything, obviously their bodies, it doesn't matter, they're dead corpses, but if it's able to do that to the rods that are in their body, and that can kind of mess with Nagato's control or disrupt some stuff, then that could also be a GG as well. You know what I mean? And that's a good possibility, and at that point, what the fuck do, you know? Pin gets the Edos with the chakra rods and stomps them. But, you know what I mean, like, so, I'm just putting that out there, like, you know, That's a good possibility theoretically. You know what I mean? Like I don't see what's wrong with that. So if that's the case, then that would even be worse, dude. You know what I mean? Like then yeah, the passive pains are fucked.
Nagato can clearly hear and see through the pains. He might get like sensory overload or something. And even then, you know, it's supposed to mess him up. Like the jutsu's supposed to mess Nagato or the victim of the jutsu. It's supposed to mess you up. So like Tendo, even though he's obviously like the hardest hitting, he would even still be blinded. So you may be able to make an argument that okay, he may be able to like deflect the jutsu or whatever. But since the ability sort of like lights up the whole cave, it kind of renders that defense useless, right? Like he pushes it away and it still just blows up, lights up the whole cave, oscillates the air, you know, heavy sound attacks, whatever.
Well, that's if you think that way. If you go by the data books and even go by defeats alone, whenever Shino Tensei is being used, it completely like just deals with whatever is being thrown at it. You know what I mean? Like whether if it's, you know, physical attacks, ninjutsu, etc., etc. Even Kakashi like thought even Kamui wouldn't work on him. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. You know what I mean? For him to not even put that into consideration, or at least try to use. You know, and it's just stated multiple times, nothing can work on Shino Tensei, and even the data books explains even further, you know, and it's like, nah, nothing can work. You know what I mean? It's the Rinnegan, the six paths, you know what I mean? The Sage of Six Paths is fucking eyes, you know, so I don't know, you know what I mean? Like to say it would just push the light away or some shit, you know, and that's it. Like I don't know about that. If anything, it would just deal with the jutsu and just, that's it. It's gone, you know. So I don't know about that, but it's interesting.
Try to absorb it, but I don't know if it would be fast enough since the attack kind of is faster than like EMS Sasuke. Do I really want to say the Preda path is faster than EMS Sasuke? I don't know if I want to say that. The Pains also have no idea what this technique is, so yeah, there is that. Sorry for like, you know, sort of breezing through these matches. I didn't want this video to be like an hour long or anything like that.
Fair.
So if I need to go over like a longer video of Kabuto versus Pain, you can just leave a comment down below. But that's pretty much it for this one. Obviously, if you like the video, please leave a like on it and subscribe.
All right, not too bad. You know, it's a good video, but I'm a little bit like in between. You know what I mean? Like to where it was good, but not really bad or either. Like it was a good video. But like there was this, I don't know, there was like some type of weird vibe to it, in my opinion. Maybe I'm tripping, I don't know. But I'll be nice. I'll like the video. It is what it is. It was good, you know. But for the most part of everything he said, it wasn't really a problem. It wasn't bad, you know. It wasn't really problematic. It was completely understandable. It was completely, like for the most part, it was legit, and he's just spitting for the majority of it. So. It is what it is. That's basically it. All I will say towards that, once again, like with Pain and everything, it is extremely contentious. And with Itachi, even I think that would be contentious in a way. And I feel like, maybe, like you could definitely argue for either way, or it's either completely one side and Itachi just absolutely stomps him if you scale him that high as well. So like I said, it's really weird when it comes to Itachi. Or for Pain, I feel like that's still contentious. Kasame is not really a relevant factor, and obviously Konan isn't either, but it's really interesting. And then if you also give prep time to Konan, like I'm gonna be real with you, that could be a problem. But then again, Kabuto could just liquefy his body, and like go with the water or some shit or something. I don't know, but like it's interesting. But either way, like it's for the most part it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. He didn't really talk that much for Orange Mask Obito. That was really weird. Like he mentioned Datara and Obito, but like he just talked about it briefly and then said like their mind explosive thing is just not gonna work. That's all he said, and then that's it, and moved on. So he didn't really talk about Obito. Now that's really interesting. I don't think Obito's speed blitzes or speed blitz and Kamui's safe from Kabuto. For one, he just has so much hacks to where he can deal with Kamui. Two, we literally see them fight, and Obito says, "I'm going to kill you," and all Kabuto does is jump back and summons Edo Tensei instantaneously, and he's like, "You sure you want to fight?" And Obito like still flexes and acts tough, and he's like, "I'm not scared of you, whatever." And he's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Okay, bet." And then he summons Madara, and then Obito's like shitting his pants. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think Obito and Orange Mask is speed blitzing, in common. I don't think that's the case at all. And it's going to be a very tough fight for Obito. Like, they're going to be going at it for a hot minute. And I just think with all the resources that Seichimoto Kabuto does have, that, I don't know, Obito might be fucked as well. You know what I mean? Like, what's it called? So it's really interesting. Like, if he's using Kamui, like, that whole time, and let's say Kabuto does, like, his ability, to paralyze you and whatnot, I don't even think, obviously that shouldn't affect him, right? Because, if he's Kamui, then his whole body, it would just be intangible and it wouldn't affect whatever. So, like, there's that, that can be helpful. But, like, it's just going to be a really weird fight. It's going to be back and forth defensive type shit going on, and, whoever just basically gets caught slipping, and that's it. And it's going to kind of be similar to the fight with Minato and Obito. That's basically what it's going to be. Whoever can get who. And even if Kabuto's not able to get the W that way, and he's struggling for whatever reason, or they're just not getting anywhere, the moment Kabuto summons Edos, it's GG's. It's fucking over. You know what I mean? But if we don't count Edos, then it's really, really interesting. Even that is, like, really interesting. But maybe Kabuto takes it, or maybe Obito could take it. It's just really contentious. It's really weird. But that's basically what I will say for the most part. And at the end of the day, it was a good video. I mean, it's that pretty simple. So, but we'll conclude here. And if you guys enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. What do you think overall of Seichimoto Kabuto versus any of the Akatsuki? Just any of them. Let me know who you think he beats or loses to. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. That really helps me out. I need all the love I can get. All these guys that I'm reacting to, they're already ahead of the game. So if you want to help a brother out, by all means, I have plenty of Naruto content and other things as well. So you guys have all day with that. But yeah, that'll basically be the end of this video. And as always, catch you next one.